Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for coming along to this session tonight on the use of iPads and Chromebooks to support our learners with additional support needs. Just to say that please do ask questions as we do go along, because it's important that make this session as useful to you. And if you've got a burning question that I'm sure somebody else has as well, so it'd be good to ask them as we go along. So just put it in the chat panel. And Pam's going to keep an eye on that and ask me the questions as we go along there. So good. So just a quick bit of information about Call Scotland. So Renfrewshire has a service level agreement with us. So they buy in a certain number of days per year and bring in our expertise. Perhaps come out to the school and do an individual assessment for a pupil with a disability or additional support need. And everything we do focuses on assistive technology and how that can support the learner there. So this is our website. If you have not looked at it, please do go and have a look at it and perhaps sign up for a newsletter and you'll get all the latest information there. But outside of having a service level agreement, any teacher in Renfrewshire, any pupil support assistant, anyone, parents, pupils themselves can phone us and ask for information. We're very happy to help everyone and anyone that with anything to do with assistive technology and pupils with additional support needs. So in terms of assistive technology, in the broadest sense, assistive technology is any object or device or system that maintains or increases the functional capability of somebody with a disability or additional support need. So lots of good work that's being done at the moment, and this quote from Professor Andy Hargreaves, who's on the International Council of Education and Advisors, and they're influential with Scottish Government decisions. So it's more about raising attainment, it's about raising self-esteem and confidence, and about enhancing inclusion. And this is why assistive technology is so important. And this assistive technology, it could be your iPads, it could be the Chromebooks in your classroom. So it is a tool to help learners reach their potential. And when I talk about reaching their potential, I don't necessarily mean raised attainment and making them successful learners, although this can be a very welcome byproduct. I mean using technology to boost the confidence of children and young people who struggle on a daily basis, and perhaps see the gap widening between them and their peers, and they start to feel a bit disillusioned and can disengage from learning. And this, we see it being magnified as they get to upper primary school and into high school. So we need to make sure the right support is in place for them. So in today's session, we're focusing on iPads and Chromebooks, and mainly looking at the excellent built-in accessibility features that can support your learners. It's really going to be a whirlwind session because we're only here till 5 o'clock, and I'll not be able to cover everything, but it'll be a really good start for anyone who's not familiar with the accessibility features or perhaps hasn't thought about how the device could be used to really support learners that are perhaps struggling with literacy. So you'll get a copy of the recording after this session, as well as my presentation, and so you can either sit back and just watch. You can, if you've got your device with you, maybe you might want to try putting on some of the settings as we go along. Whatever you like, it's up to you. I just hope it's a valuable session to you. And as we say, if you take away one thing tonight that helps one learner, then that is a fantastic start. So go with that in mind, and I'm going to now continue. I'm going to put my camera off just now. I'm going to be doing different demos. I've got quite a few screens going here, so it's one less thing for me to think about if I'm taking my camera off here. So what we're going to think about now is we're going to start off by looking at the iPad. Okay, so these are the features on the iPad that we said we are going to have a look at tonight there. What I'm finding is that sometimes when we're delivering training, it's depending on what operating system your iPad is on. Some of the features, they're there in the same way, but they're slightly different in terms of perhaps the terminology around them or the labeling of them, but I'll be going over that in detail as well. So I'll show you when I share my iPad screen where you would find out what if you're on the latest iOS, and it depends within your authority how you get your updates, but it's always really important to get the latest update for the, depending on the age of the device, they certainly do get to a point where they can't be updated any further, but we really want them to, for the fullest potential, we want to be able to using them on the highest, the latest iOS there. So I'm not going to read everything out on the screen, but that's what I'm going to try and get through in the next little while here. So just now, I'm just going to bring up my iPad screen here. Actually, I think I've maybe one more slide I'm going to be showing you first of all before I do that. Yes, so here we are. We're just going to be talking about accessibility tools on the iPad, but also thinking, well, also on the iPhone as well. It's using the same operating system, so therefore we should be thinking of them both. And pupils will have phones at home, and so certainly if they're using the tools at school, then they can certainly use them at home there. Okay, so here's my iPad screen here. I'm just making it full size so that we can all see it. Maybe Pam, just you could confirm that you can see the screen on there. I always don't like to present and then realize that nobody can see my screen. I'm assuming it's shared, and I'm assuming you can hear. And if anything's different, then please do flag that up with me.
We can definitely see it just now.
Brilliant, that's great, that's great. So where I'm going to show you is just to check where your operating system you will find the latest. So you'll see my little orange circle I've got going there, and I'm just going to go to the settings cog there. And right at the top, I'm under the general tab on the left-hand side. And if I just go to about, and click on about, it's going to tell me there which version. So I'm on the very latest one. I'm on iOS 16.1. So everything I'm showing you is to do with that version. So say some of the things might be slightly different, but they will be available in some format as well. So I deliver a lot of trainings to local authorities where they've got thousands of iPads, and sometimes, you know, even one-to-one iPads for pupils all primary 6 and above, and they still don't have the basic settings switched on. So that's one of the key things tonight we're going to be having a look at. So I'm going to start by thinking of looking at a website. So here's a website that we have here about the Romans. So this could be topic work you're doing, and you're wanting your learners to have a look at that and perhaps find some information on there. Well, a few things before we even get started on that. A typical website, you've got sidebars coming down the left-hand side, and along the top there, you've got different pages you can click into. Photos, text there. One ad along at the top, sometimes you get a lot more ads. We're always looking for a way to make the page really nice and clear. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to the top here, so to the left-hand side of the address bar, to where you've got the small a and the large A. So when I tap on that, this drop down comes up, and I'm going to choose the top option to show reader. So this is Safari Reader View. So wait till you see what the website looks like now when I tap on show reader. Brilliant. I mean, it's just got the website. I've now got a really nice, clear interface, which just makes it far more accessible for finding out information, for reading. Of no distractions there. Made the text really nice and big. I'm clicking on the small a and the large A again. That's where I'm going to tap on there, and you can see the large A there. I can increase the font size up, and I've given the background color a kind of sepia color. We know that the worst combination is a white background with black text. So to make things easier and inclusive, we want to change that whenever we can. So now that I've got my website looking in this way, the other thing was saying, well, actually, I have difficulty reading it out. So I'm going to put on the built-in speak selection on the iPad and have the text read out to me. So I'm putting my finger down on the first word there, facts. I'm going to drag out the bars, lift my finger up, and then you'll see I've got this list of options here, and I'm going to go down, scroll down to the one that says speak.
Facts about Romans for kids. Roman Britain homework help.
So it will just read it out there. Now that drop down menu of the options there where I chose the word speak is a later version, an iOS 16 version. Before, when you tap down and you highlight the text, the option to speak will appear just above where you have tapped. So perhaps if you're trying that out, you'll see it along the top. It's certainly in one of the options, you've got different options, and one of them is speak. So you could be, some learner might be using a whole phrase or a paragraph to have read out loud. One learner might just come across a more difficult word, so put their finger down on it and choose the option to have it spoken out.
Evidence.
You'll see it highlights the word as it speaks it, which is really good. So then you're focusing into that particular word. If you're actually having to look up a word, we always say, well, tap it again, and then choose to perhaps use the spell option just to reinforce the spelling of that word you didn't know.
E, V, I, D, E, N, C, E.
Yeah, not quite sure why we're getting that kind of breathy reading out of the word, but it will spell the word out there, and that is really important. So if I wanted the whole page read out loud, to save me having to put my finger down and drag out the bars and then go to the next bit and do the same, I can activate speak screen, which will allow me to have the whole page read out. And so to do that, I'm just doing a kind of 2-finger flick down from the top of the page. You can't actually see my fingers working, but it's I'm just, if you can picture my 2 fingers that are in the middle of the screen up at the top, and I'm just flicking down, and that will activate the speak screen bar.
Facts about Romans for kids. Roman Britain homework help. Roman army. The Italian flag. Romans came to. English flag. Britain nearly 2,000 years ago and changed our country. Even today.
So that will read out until I switch it off, switch this bar. So now I've got the chance to be able to pause, play again, it clicks off to the side. I can put this little speech bar anywhere I like there. So that is speak screen. So I'm going to show you where these settings are put on, because it's a one-time switch on, and it's just the most important thing you can do is to make sure these are on. So you don't have learners coming to ask you what's a particular word. You don't have learners struggling to read. If they've got headphones, put that in, let them do this and work somewhat independently. So going back to the settings cog, this one here again, so clicking on that, and then this time I'm going down to, clicking down the left-hand side, and I'm going to accessibility, clicking on accessibility, and then I'm going to the right-hand side here, and I'm going to spoken content. Clicking on that, you can see I've got the top 2 switched on, the speak selection and speak screen. So the speak selection allowed me to highlight a word or a phrase or sentence, dragging it out and then lifting my fingers and speaking. The speak screen was my 2 fingers swipe down from the top of the screen, and that will give you the whole page read out. I always go for the 4th one, highlight content. Then you're given the choice of what do you actually want highlighted? Is it read aloud? You can make personalizations with the background color of the text that's being read out. So, but certainly you can, if you're not going to personalize anything, just make sure it's switched on. As I say, it's a one-time switch on, and then you're able to have that read aloud. Not just for a web page. I might be in a notes app. We're always thinking about learners who are writing their own work. So you might be doing for productivity, you might be using something like the Notes app or Pages app or the Word app, whatever you're using it in. If the learner is typing up their own words, then it's quite good to allow them, to give them the chance to be able to have some kind of check that they can listen to. They can put their finger down and drag out over some text that they have written, and
the soldier was brave.
And just to do a bit of sort of check to see if they need to do any editing or correcting, they've got the chance to do that. One of the things a lot of learners find difficult is to perhaps to be looking at a website on the iPad and then coming to do some writing about it. So I've got the Notes app open here, but what I can do is I can bring the web page up to make a kind of split screen. So I'm looking at them both at the same time. So from the bottom of the screen, I'm just going to bring up my finger, and you can see I'm bringing up the latest applications that I've got there. So I'm going to the Safari browser. I'm going to drag it. So I'm just holding my finger down, and I'm going to put it on the right-hand side of the page. So now you see I've got my notes that I'm writing in on the left-hand side here, and I've got my web page here, nicely reformats, reflows, so I'm not having to scroll way along the page to see the text. And as I say, the good thing about it is we can use the speak selection on both sides of the page. So this is me in my Notes app on the left-hand side, highlighted some text, and I'm going to click Speak.
I'm learning about Romans today.
And then I can go onto my web page and I can highlight some text again and have it spoken out.
The Romans invaded other countries too.
So really good to know that you can work on both sides of the page like that. If you're typing in down at the bottom here, what you can actually do is you can go down here and you can actually put your finger down on a picture and you can actually just drag it over. You can see the plus up here, so you can drag that into your notes. And the same way I can pick up a bit of text there. So instead of doing a copy and paste, I just hold it down and just float it onto the other page there and it will fit in there. So easy to do, and that's really useful for learners that, you know, this concentration or processing difficulties. Having everything on the one page is a really, really useful thing to be able to do. I just noticed when the keyboard came up there, we always have that idea that, you know, the iPad screen does become quite small when you bring up this big keyboard. But one of the things you can do is you can actually make the keyboard smaller. So I can just squeeze that keyboard together. And now I've got a keyboard that I can put anywhere I like, but it kind of gives you a bit more space for typing. So to do that, all I did was I'm bringing my right finger up to the top. If you can, I can show you my right finger's going up here and my left finger's going there. And then I'm just dragging them together to make the smaller keyboard. So that might be useful for some learners, just to give them a little bit more room there. So not just for literacy activities, we think of numeracy as well. So I'm going to go to the Books app here, and the learner who struggles not just with the calculations within maths, but actually the reading of word problems. So what I've been able to do, I've gone to the Books for All database within the Call Scotland website. So great database of accessible text. I've downloaded a TJ Maths book. So I've now got this maths book here, and the same thing I'm able to do here. I can just focus in on some text, put my finger down, drag it out, lift my finger up and speak.
Danny bought packets of plain and vinegar crisps.
And it will read it out to me there. Now, in the same way there, you might be thinking about a way to be able to write some text down. So I could, again, at this point, I could bring up the Notes app. I can use that as a kind of whiteboard for writing down things. Let's start a new note there. And not only that, when you're using the Notes app, I can go to the top to where the 3 dots are there and add in some lines and grids. So if I was to add in here, you've just got a nice, you know, adding in a sort of graph paper, which is going to give me the chance to be able to do some of the calculations here, and then be able to do some of the writing here. So if we've got a question here, how far will a ship travel in 4 hours at average of 15 kilometers per hour? So I might be wanting just to bring up a pen here, down at the bottom, and type in, choose my color here, and then I'm going to be able to decide that I'm going to just do some drawing in here, and then do my calculation. So you've got the chance to do that, kind of using it as a whiteboard, but then if people like the grids, the lines that you can add in there. So if it wasn't for say, like, for example, another way to be doing it, I'm still in the Books app here, but thinking, well, actually, what I could do at this point here, if I had a calculating app on my iPad, so I've got this app here, which is a calculator one. Let's go back to the Books app and just do the same, bring up from the bottom of the page, bring up my calculating app here, holding down, bringing it up to the right hand side here. So same sum, how far will a ship travel? 4 hours and 15 kilometers. This one's great because I can just now write out the sum. And as long as I write in fairly accurately, and it recognizes the figures, then it will do that self-calculation. So let me just put in the chat panel just now the name of that app, because it is a really good one. The self-calculating is called My Script Calculator. I think it's $1.99. Worth having a look at if that's something, but just it's more about the split screen that I'm trying to look at and get you to think about how that might be able to work there. So text to speech is really important. It's a one-time switch on your iPad, and that's one of the most important things that I would say that you should be able to do. So here's an actual question from somebody, a young person, saying, you know, they've got an iPad. They're looking at a website. I'd like to see a nice clear page and get some support with text to speech. I don't need the whole thing read out, just the odd word. So that's when we were looking at what did we do? We got the website up, went to the top there, went to the small a and the large a, put on the reader view, and then at that point, this is how I was describing it. This is what it looked like before your speak icon came at the top there to be able to do that there. So absolutely fantastic. I'd be really interested. Oh, good. Pam's say My Script Calculator's on the approved list, so that is really good. If anyone has any comments on using, is Speak Screen, Speak Selection new for you? Is this going to revolutionize your use of the iPads and for your learners? Maybe it's something you already know, but for a lot of people, I know that it's probably, if nothing else, just a good reminder that it's there and how it can be used. And perhaps the split screen option is giving you different options there as well. Okay, just a couple other things on the iPad. We're going to be looking at supporting learners with writing difficulty. So we've been focusing on kind of the reading difficulties, but we're going to have a look at what would you do if you had a writing difficulty. Right, back to the Notes app. I can start typing in some text here. Also thinking about, that's not the only kind of keyboard you can have to use. It's the standard one with the iPad, but I have some other apps on here, so I can put my keyboard into a different look and feel. So quite a nice child-friendly one. This is in alphabetical order. You can put it in QWERTY order as well. But quite nice look and feel, and you've got some predictive actually, I see this is not mirroring up on my iPad there, so I'm looking at the screen, you're not seeing that in full, so sorry about that. Let me just put that up here again. So I want to go clear the screen off. Yeah, so I'm in my Notes app and I was just demonstrating a different keyboard that we have there. So this is what it looks like here. And you can see I've got some predictive text at the top of the keyboard there. Lots of different other options there, but I'm going to go back to the traditional one, the standard one with the iPad. And I'm going to think about, right, I've spelling anxiety. I just freeze when it comes to a blank page. Lots of reasons why I'm not very good at typing, might have poor fine motor skills, but I'm good at answering things orally, and I need a way that I need to show how, how will the teacher know what my cognitive ability is like if I can't get any work down? Well, on the iPad, we can use Siri. So just to the left of the spacebar, I can go and click on the microphone there, and then I can start speaking, because that's the built-in speech recognition that we've got on the iPad there. So speech recognition and word processors can potentially alleviate spelling and writing concerns by allowing the learner to get their thoughts out in paper without worrying about them or other technical writing components. So here's an example of me using it here. Tapping on that, I'm just speaking. I don't have any other built-in headset or anything, just talking to the microphone built in on the iPad here. I can use voice typing to type up all my revision notes, and it's brilliant because it's quick and easy, and all the words I say will be spelt correctly, and that's amazing for a bad speller like me, full stop. And tap off the microphone there. So you can see that, how quick and easy that came up. It does require Wi-Fi, as I say, for it to work. I have used it a lot, so I am familiar with how it works, but it doesn't require any training. And it's a great way of being able to offer that to a learner to be able to get the text down on the page to be able to do that. And also in the same way, if I would be always recommending for somebody using speech recognition, then make sure that they know that once they've spoken it, they're going to do some kind of check. They're going to perhaps select it all, and then they want to speak it out loud.
I can use voice typing to type up all my revision notes, and it's brilliant because it's quick and easy and all the words I see will be spelled correctly, and that's amazing for a bad speller like me.
If spelling's a particular issue, then I can use Siri, as in touching on the home screen. You can see the home button, which if I just, my orange circle, if I just, it won't actually go onto the frame of the iPad, but that little square there is what we call the home button. Holding down that will bring up Siri, and I can ask Siri to spell some words for me. Spell accommodation.
Accommodation. C C O M M O T I O N.
And that will give me some spelling support there, just by using audio. Same as you would use Alexa to ask questions. You've got that there on the iPad there. A good question from Miss Burnett there about background noise. The iPad will actually pick up people speaking quite quietly if you're holding it up to you. So we've done work where we're working around a table with 4 or 6 people using it, and it can pick up just the learner who's just the iPad they've got. It really depends. It doesn't really pick up other people's voices, but perhaps if there's somebody clattering around in the classroom, that not only would be distracting for the learner that's trying to focus on speaking, it could pick it up there. So ideally as a quieter place, but it certainly doesn't have to be an absolute dead silent place. So worth giving a go. And with speech recognition, you know, we'd always try to say, you know, just start with short sentences, short phrases. I'm just going to click on here. I would just be saying, today is Monday. Switch off. Try avoid keeping the microphone on endlessly, and just, you know, speak, think what you're going to say, switch on the mic, speak, switch off, perhaps review what you're going to do, and then do the same again. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Click off. So there's lots to learn about. Absolutely a great thing, a tool to be able to use, and for learners going on to high school, it's a brilliant thing to know that they've got the chance to be able to do that, and to be using their voice, and sort of perhaps eventually not need to be using a scribe to write their work down. In the same way the text-to-speech is negating the need for a human reader, we want to be giving them tools to be able to work independently and perhaps not need to have somebody, a scribe, human scribe, to write their work down there. So that's on the iPad there, and we'll be having a look at that on the Chromebook as well, because there's Google Voice typing, which is also similarly really good. So the other thing I was going to think, well, what if their voice isn't clear enough? What would you do then to support them putting work down that just to help them to think, well, actually, I still know the right answers. I'm not good at typing, and my spelling's terrible. Speech recognition's not going to work for me. What would be another option that you would be able to use? Well, this is when we would be encouraging the use of something like the OneNote app. Now, OneNote is part of Office 365. I know that you have access to that in Renfrewshire through Glow, similarly as the G Suite for Education there. So let's just have a look to see what that would look like. We're going to be looking at in OneNote. So what OneNote, just to be kind of reminder of what it is and how it works. So you've got excellent tools there in OneNote, as in it's a digital notebook. You'll be able to set it up on any device, and it automatically saves and syncs to whatever device you're using. So that's great. So you're working at school on one device, go home, log in, and you will have all the work there. So saves a lot of stress of organisation. So you've got each different sections, you can set it up, and then within each section you've got different pages. So within OneNote, it's, as I say, not only is it excellent for organisation, it's got so many built-in assistive tools. So one of the tools I'm thinking about here is the fact is if you're not clear enough voice to use speech recognition on the iPad or on the Chromebook, then let's see if we can let the learner just use their voice. So here within OneNote, I would just go to the top here to insert. I've just got the reminder here. So I'm going to the top, insert, and then I'm going to do some record audio. So let me just show you how easy it is to record a little audio file. My voice is not very clear and I can't get speech recognition to work, but I can record an audio file here and share it with my teacher. So again, no other additional headset, just using the inbuilt mic on my laptop. It would be the same on the Chromebook as well. It would just be exactly the same that I would use there. So then I've got my little note here. I've got recorded my note. I can listen to it back. This can be shared with my teacher, and that could be one way that they could then be listening to that for assessment. If you're on the iPad, in terms of so on the iPad, you could be going to your OneNote notebook and doing very much the same way, but there are a number of different apps that you could be using as well. One of the ones I like for creating voice notes is just, it's called Voice Memos. Just this one here, really simple and easy to use. And I can just start creating a new, I'm just using the big red record button down at the bottom here and record. I'm going to write my book report this way and then submit it to the teacher. So I've now got my file here, and then you'd be thinking, well, and just with like everything else, you use this sort of international share icon up at the top here. I would just be clicking on that and then either saving it somewhere or perhaps airdropping it to the teacher. So another option if speech recognition is not going to work for you there. So the last thing I'm going to show you on the iPad, and there are the last things of today I'm going to show you on the iPad because there are so many different things there that are fantastic. But thinking about for learners with additional support needs who have access to a device, we want to be able to provide them with their resources in a digital format so that they can use the tools that we've been talking about. But it's not always possible. There are paper resources out there. So what could we use on the iPad that would allow us to read paper resources? So one of the things we could use is an app called Seeing AI. I will show you what that looks like here, just so that everyone's clear on the app itself. The number of different scanning apps you can use. This one here is how you are spelling it, just Seeing AI. So it's an app on the iPad that is using the camera function and looking at some digital text that's in a book, or could be a poster on the wall or on our interactive whiteboard, but using the camera to read it out loud. So let me just bring that up on the iPad here. I've got a book here. I'm going to show you what that would look like reading that text there. So Seeing AI here.
Short text, prized document. Bottom edge not visible. Hold steady. Processing.
Okay, so it's taken a picture of my book. And then you can see down at the bottom, obviously with the iPad, it's great. I can zoom in, make it as big as I want. But down what we're looking for is down at the left-hand side here. I've got the chance now to play that back. So we'll click on that.
Since the second grade, David had stopped by Scott's house every morning on the way to school.
So it's a really good, nice, quick and easy way of being able to do things sort of on the fly. Spontaneous. It could be a worksheet. I know we're getting away from them, but there's still so many paper resources out there. So really good to know that you've got that chance with this app. It's a free app. Pam's doing all the paperwork to get the DPIA, which is the bane of everyone's life, but it has to be done. But it is a really good one. The other thing is if you are using iOS 16 in Photos, you've now got the chance in the Photos app here to be able to use this actual scan icon, this little icon that you can see here down at the bottom, which is the sort of square with the 4 lines in it. And then when I click on that, it will actually highlight the text. It's not mirroring up here, but what it's actually doing is allowing me to do the same thing as I can with other digital text and speak it out loud.
Define what a cell is.
So that's basically no app required, just using the camera and being able to have that spoken aloud there. So absolutely fantastic to be able to just do that on the fly and you know, have access to paper resources, books, you know. And the other thing for the Seeing AI, which I will quickly show you, is that it will read handwriting as well. So it's got one of the options there. I can put it onto handwriting mode.
Handwriting. Preview. Processing.
Take a picture.
Please can you collect your assignment from the school office? Thank you.
So some of the scanning apps won't do that, but it does with the Seeing AI there. So, right, without further ado, I'm going to move over. If you just give me 1 minute, I'm going to stop mirroring my iPad. I'm going to move over onto the Chromebook just now there. I've quickly glanced at the questions there, and I've got one from Miss Etheridge. Can the speak options also translate? Yes, you've got translation options there. I think it's 60 different languages, so brilliant if you're learners with English as an additional language. It could be a really good thing to be offering to them too. So let me just get my Chromebook in action here. So I'm just going to mirror that up. Just 1 second. Actually, before I do that, we'll just talk about what we're going to be doing on the Chromebook there. How can they be used to support pupils with additional support needs, and what's built in to support learners with literacy difficulties? So here's the main slide here that I was going to show you, just in terms of things that we can do with it. And I'm sure that some of them are very familiar to you, but in this short session, we'll probably stick with the basic ones so that everyone's on the same page with that. So we want, in the similar way, things that we did with the iPad, we want a way for the text on the screen to be read out loud. You've got that built into the Chromebook and select to speak. I want to be given options of being able to speak, use my voice, and have the text appear on the page. And then, of course, I would want to be able to check it again with a text-to-speech program there. Spell checking, any kind of grammar support, what's available within Google Docs. So the way the Chromebook is working, you're going to have some features built in, but a lot of the functionality is going to come from apps and extensions. And what you'll find out, and we'll get information just to clarify, you'll have apps that are already existing on your Chromebook, and then there'll be other apps and extensions that we'll be working on to see if we can get them installed. And then you've got sort of full support. So you're not installing bits of software as you would with a laptop. Or apps as you would with the iPad. It's Chrome apps and extensions that are providing the support there. And then, because obviously the Chromebook's online, we're just using the same tools, you know, your audio tools and OneNote and Word Online you can be used, and also OneNote for organization and assistive tools there. So see that Pam has put in there, so the two apps that are available, or two of the apps that are available already on the Renfrewshire Chromebooks are and I'll just click forward here because I made a slide about them. Mote, which is you're adding in voice comments and audio, which can be added to documents or assignments. and it's integrated with everything within the G Suite, so it's a good one to use. And Screencastify will allow you to create and edit and share videos in seconds, and also it gives you the chance to assess the viewer understanding with interactive questions. So that'd be a really good one for, you know, giving that further level of explanation to perhaps pupils with additional support needs, just to make sure that they understand them there. So you've got that within already there on your Chromebook. So the most important thing I want to know is that everyone has this accessibility icon appearing on their Chromebook. So the best way to check for that is to go down to the bottom right hand of your screen, your Chromebook screen, and click on the clock icon, the time. If you see the accessibility icon, then these two on the right hand side are the two that you want to switch on. Switch on select to speak, and switch on dictation there. So that will give you your key tools that you need, the built-in ones there as well. Glancing again at Pam's comment there, and if Clicker's enabled in some schools, I would be checking to see if it's enabled in your school, and if the Clicker Writer app is there, then you have a, you know, incredible app there in terms of comprehensive literacy support. So if you've paid for it, it might be there, but you've paid for the subscription for it. But definitely worth checking out, because it is a really fantastic one. So what if the accessibility icon is not there? What would you do? Well, this is what you would do. We would just go to settings and we would put it there. So I'm going to start off by showing that. So all I have to do now is just mirror my iPad screen up to the laptop, and then I'll bring that over, and then we'll do a little demo of that so that everyone can see what that looks like. Okay, so here is my Chromebook screen that you're now seeing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the bottom here. So I'm down at the bottom, I'm clicking on the clock icon. Click on 1644, click on there, and then I have my accessibility icon here. So that's what I really want to check with everyone that they have. And when I click on that, then click on the drop down, I've got these two things enabled, the select to speak and the dictation. So if you don't have that switched on, then you would just go here up to the settings cog, and it opens up your settings there. And then I would just type in accessibility, and clicking through there, you can see that that's all you need to do is make sure this is toggled on. When that's toggled on, then your accessibility icon will appear in your menu there. So with these two things on, you've got in the bottom toolbar, I've got the select to speak icon and my dictation icon. So it just means that when I now go to a website here and I've trouble, and this is one of these ones that's really busy with ads. This is the one where you would be really wanting to clear the screen out. You know, for example, if you were working in, you could get an app that cleaned that screen out, that gives you the nice clear interface. But the main thing here, because the text is quite small, if you just hit Control and plus on your screen, you're going to increase the size of the screen, which will also make it a little bit easier to access the text here. You can see I'm now going to be taking out some of the ads just by increasing the size of the screen. So that was Control plus, clearing the size of the screen, and also Control minus would just bring it back in size again. So down at the bottom here, I'm going to show you the built-in select to speak. So you right down at the bottom, I'm just going to tap on that to activate it. Then I'm going to drag this bar box over it.
We're off on an adventure out of this world to discover 10 stellar facts about space.
Okay, and that's reading it out. I'm hoping the sound is mirroring up there as well. It certainly is reading it out. So hopefully that you can hear that there. So yep. Oh, good. Thank you, Pam. So really nice and easy to use. You're kind of dragging is like a hold down, a click on the side of the trackpad and then dragging it out. And then you can see you can change the pace of the voices. You can change your voices within settings. We always think it's really important for a learner who's using text to speech that they actually get a voice that they want to listen to. So we know that there's tools out there that can help learners and they choose themselves not to use it. Sometimes when you dig down, it can just be that they don't like the voice, or the voice is actually too fast and they don't understand it. So it's worth trying to explore a little bit to find out what voices they like. And for 59p, you can actually download the Scottish voices as well if you're somebody who's particularly used. Oh, there's somebody, Miss Burnett's just asked. 59p, you can get the Scottish voices installed there. It seems to work a bit sporadically, as some things do on the Chromebook, and as in terms of working with a website, working with a PDF, working within a Google Docs. But you can certainly get them. And then, so Pam will keep you all right on how you would do that through Glow there. So it's good. I mean, these kind of sessions are good because it brings up, other issues within the authority, and a great way to just make sure that everyone's got all the tools that they're looking for there. So that's me using the built-in speak selection. Now, because I have also got an app, so I've got the read write extension here, so I can click on that. Now read write, I know that you have available in Renfrewshire in this same version as this here, because it's the cut down version, but it's just a different way of being able to. So this time I'm just going to highlight the text and click on the play arrow here.
We're off on an adventure out of this world to discover 10 stellar facts about space.
Okay.
Facts about space.
So that's just stop, pause, play, nicely highlighting as it goes along, and we really like that. That's called using dual modality, where you're actually seeing text and you're listening to it, and you're being able to have that read out loud. So select to speak was the built-in one, so we'll just switch that off and we'll do that again. We put it on in accessibility settings, so it's always going to be ready to use. Going to the bottom here and just clicking on select to speak, and then dragging it round the text you want read out.
We're off on an adventure out of this world to discover 10 stellar facts about space.
So really helpful for somebody who's struggling with reading. They've got the chance to be able to do that, and switch that off back there. So let's go up to, I'm in a Google document now. So again, we're thinking text to speech. Yes, it's great for websites and taking in information, but it could also be good for somebody who's written something and they want to just check what they've written there. So again, I would just go down to the bottom there, click on that and drag that over what I want to say.
Vegetarians enjoy a diet of grains, pulses, nuts, seeds. Vegetarians enjoy a diet of grains, pulses, nuts, seeds, vegetables and fruit, with some also choosing to vegetables and fruit, with some also choosing to include dairy products, including cheese made using include dairy product.
Interesting, that was reading that twice. I'm going to put that down to me mirroring it up, because it certainly, there's no reason for that. It wouldn't read every word, every line out twice there. But so that's select to speak with a Google document. In the same way, I might choose to use that, or I would have the chance to use another app. So whether it's your read write, they're up at the top here. I've got read write, I've got natural reader, which is another nice one, to be able to have text read out loud there. So it's just doing exactly the same thing, the text to speech, having that spoken out loud there. So thinking about if we're in Google Docs, we might want to just do some writing, but of a difficulty writing, a struggle with spelling, but I've got the same way we were using Siri. This is just to show you how you would use it in a Google document, where you're speaking and the words come out, and as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi, and that's definitely, you need Wi-Fi for it to work, but no, just using the built-in mic on the Chromebook. So let's give it a go. So go up to the top, I'm going to click on Tools, and I'm going to down here to voice typing. So clicking on there, let's type just all I have to do now is click on that, and then it will turn to a red microphone, and then I'll start speaking. So here we go. I can use voice typing to type up all my revision notes, and it's brilliant because it's quick and easy, and all the words I say will be spelt correctly, and that's amazing for a bad speller like me! Exclamation mark. Okay, there are, I mean, I put exclamation mark in, there are, you know, different punctuation, there's other phrases. I could go back and do, you know, bold some of it. I can do new lines. There are sort of shortcut. I've got a nice document I can share with you with all the sort of shortcuts if somebody is using voice typing. But it's fab. It's really, really good. In the same way as Siri, you're not requiring any training for it. You are requiring a Wi-Fi connection. That is one of the things that you're able to do there. So again, I would want to go back, have that spoken out, and if I need to make any changes, then I would be able to do that in there. If you want to check spelling when you're using a Google document, you're going to, so I am, see, it's got autocorrect on, so it is actually quite difficult to spell incorrectly. This is always a difficult one to spell anyway. So clicking on there, I've got my red squiggly line. I'll just go to the top, tools, spelling and grammar, clicking along here, and it's highlighting the word and asking me if I want to change it there. You just get one option with the built-in there. If you're requiring, say, interesting, oh yes, it's self-correct. That's, I'm wondering why I had, I thought I had spelt it incorrectly. But yeah, so it's giving me the correct spelling there. So I'm going to click on that. And so good to know that these checks are there, but you will get apps where you're able to have, you know, if a selection of words, we might be thinking about using word prediction would be another one where you're thinking about just perhaps typing out the first couple of letters of a word. If you get the full version of read write, then you will have word prediction. You will have the ability to have picture support, checking in dictionary. You will have your spell checks and everything built in there. So lots of good things that you can have within the Chromebook there. So just because this is such a short session, I am going to just quickly see if anyone has any questions just now on this, and then I can see what I can do to help. I'm just going to stop the screen sharing just now. And see if that's there. Pam, any questions there? Anything that
Nothing coming through so
No?
far. I think that's
Okay.
just really been really helpful for everybody. Please, it's one of these things whenever we're talking and people are trying frantically to type as we speak, give them a moment to do that, but nothing so far.
Right, nothing there, fine. So, well, just, you know, I can finish off just talking. We have got this on our website. We've got this Chromebook apps for extension with learners with dyslexia, literacy difficulties. So it's thinking about what is it you would like to do, because there'll absolutely be a way that you can do it. One of the things on the iPad that I just in terms of time didn't get a chance to cover, but if you've got a learner who likes to use a color overlay, now there's definitely two schools of thought of the value of using that, but if they like to use it, then absolutely we would just say you know, go ahead and use it, but you're not going to hold a color overlay over an iPad screen or a Chromebook screen. So what you'd be looking for something is for screen masking. That is built in on the iPad, and it comes under your accessibility settings and display and text size, and it's called color filters. So you can make your iPad any number of, I think there's like 12 different colors, and you can change the intensity of the color. So you might be looking for something like that on the Chromebook as well. So again, it is just thinking about what is it you're looking for. So this Chromebook app wheel really helps you to break that down and have a think about what it is you're actually looking for the support on. So I know it has been a really super quick session tonight, and I do thank everyone for coming along. I hope it has been helpful. That is my email address there, and please do get in questions. You get the recording, you might look through, you might have a chance to try something yourself, and then you've got questions. That's generally how it works. I'm more than delighted for anyone to get in touch with me, drop me an email, and I'll be in touch. Or even if there's issues around the use of your Chromebooks that, in terms of them, or iPads, whether it's updating, whether it's getting apps or apps and extensions, then there will be an evaluation form. Put all the information in there, and we'll collate it all. And I'll work with Pam to make sure that your iPads and Chromebooks are set up in the best possible way for your learners with additional support needs, and also that you know how to use the tools. And we are, as I say, very, very happy to help out in any way.
Fabulous. Thank you, Shirley. That's smashing. Now, I've just been taking and the things that Shirley's been saying, and I've been popping some of them into chat, but I've also been adding them into an email. So I'll send all of these out to you along with the evaluation, and Shirley will send over to me the link to the recording as well. You'll get
Absolutely.
all of that. So please do fill out the evaluation, because those of you on the call who know me, this is what we're all about. We always try and put things in, add things, and it's great to have the support of Call Scotland, because we have just moved to an MDM with our iPad, so we're still learning things, and schools are still getting used to it, and what apps and what things are available within it, and their Chromebooks are managed through Glow, so any information about that is always useful about where we go with that. So yeah, but yeah, can I just say a huge thank you, Shirley? A round of applause, as I like to do. So thank you for that. And
You're
if there
very
is
welcome.
anything else, pop it in the chat, and I'm happy to hang on for a few minutes just to see. Oh, there, you're getting some claps, some virtual
that's
claps,
great.
Shirley. We love a virtual clap.
No, thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from people, and we'll be in touch, Pam.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.